Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, for this beautiful gathering. I don't think we've had a gathering like this in 6 or 7 years. So it's exciting to see old friends and new friends also as our community, technology community comes back to Beirut once again. Um, I couldn't help notice all through your presentation the amount of energy, the dedication, the initiatives, and I'd love to delve into the how. But before, I want to ask you, why do you think it's a different moment today? What makes this moment different for Lebanon so that we embark into this new technology revival?
The question as to why now, it's because we've wasted way too much time. It's never too late to start. We have to do things quickly to catch up with the rest of the world. The region around us has evolved. They've made big investments in technology. But more importantly, as we rethink the future of the Republic, we have to rebuild a digital republic alongside that, one that is geared to serving citizens, one that is geared to protecting citizens' data and information, but also it's about time that the national technology agenda, and artificial intelligence is only part of it, becomes part of the economic renaissance of the country. And I think now is the time to rethink it, to plan it, but also to get things done quickly to show that our bet on economic and political reforms is paying off.
You mentioned in the presentation that you're a startup ministry, and I love to use the terminology from our community because as a startup, you start with a very dedicated and motivated team that we saw today, but also, I can assume, very little resources. And as you build up the startup ministry, I want to understand how did you pull it off and how do you operate today? What is your minimum viable product? What is your strategy? How do you bring all these resources together?
Great question, because it's easy for a tech startup to know to identify the service and to have an MVP, a minimum viable product. For the Ministry of Technology and AI, let me define the MVP. The MVP, the minimum viable product, is one, the political support, which I enjoy and I'm grateful for from the President of the Republic, the President of the Council of Ministers, and the rest of my colleagues. This support is the minimum MVP, number one. Number two, it is the ability to build relationships, networks with the private sector, with the diaspora, and mobilize the resources, including the partnerships with our friends, including today, we have a delegation, very high-level delegation from the United Arab Emirates. It's a sign of confidence in the future of the country, but also in the work that we are doing. The other part that I think is very important, the MVP, is to know what we're working with. We have an incredibly vibrant population, dynamic, entrepreneurial, and having seen this generation after generation of people leaving the country, starting businesses abroad, I think it's an opportunity to focus on bringing them back here. So the MVP, the secret sauce in this case, the algorithm, starts with talent, to the networks and relationships and partnerships with universities and the private sector. That's really what makes this work. This is the promise that we are pursuing. This is what we're working to achieve. So you ask what keeps us going? It is the promise that this product that we are delivering is actually going to make a difference in the lives of Lebanese citizens, create jobs, attract investments, but change the lives of every single citizen by giving them access to services that they do not have today.
Focusing on the entrepreneurs, we're lucky to work in a digital technology and AI world where you can build a startup from anywhere to anywhere. And maybe this is a model for Lebanon, where we can support the next generation of entrepreneurs to start here, build their back offices, build their product, and scale globally. But this also requires a set of additional resources, specifically funding. And since we are in the funding business, and we've been in this business for more than 15 years, how important is it to build the right institutions to attract that capital from abroad? You mentioned certain initiatives. would love to hear more and maybe zoom in a little bit on the capital, because the human capital is here, and I think, we can touch it and see it.
It starts with, of course, the human capital, but it also requires financial capital.
Absolutely.
And that's really what you have been doing over the last 15 years, identifying winners, mentoring them, helping them scale, and unleashing not only their creativity, but making their products available all over. So this conversation about capital is very critical. So we start with the Angel Investor Network, but I think the bigger bet is also on the fund of funds that I mentioned, the fund of funds that will allow private companies to transform digitally. Any company, be it in manufacturing or in services all over, but also a tech company, a pure tech company. And of course, AI first companies will get preference, because that too is the future. And these are areas that we can invest in. There's a return on investment. Like any early stage tech, there is a risk. Like any other investment, some will fail, some will succeed. And you know the odds. If we get one or two succeeding beyond our wildest dreams, it will more than compensate for the others, who will then retool or pivot to another product. But the capital is very important. So in terms of the capital, the fund of funds, we're starting with a 150 million target. The idea is that this fund will lend on certain conditions for digital transformation, as well as invest in
AI.
Tech startups. So for digital transformation, it'll be a loan, but for tech startups, it'll be an equity investment, or it could be a convertible loan, as you know, SAFE or something similar to that. The idea is that this fund will substitute for the absence of a financial sector that's delivering and helping businesses. And so we need to raise that money, and that's the next challenge for the next few months.
And
I need your help in this.
Absolutely, count on us and the entire wider community. Lebanon has pioneered not just the technology sector, but also the VC industry, because many of my colleagues and peers have all started here, and now we're scaling across the region. To go back on the fund of fund platform, we have precedents in countries around us that have successfully raised it through DFIs, and really the multiplier effect on the economy is absolutely big. Your Excellency, when we
You're referring to Jordan specifically.
Exactly.
Jordan has a fund of funds which we have modeled our proposal on, and it's worked incredibly well in Jordan.
Which is a World Bank initiative.
And it was funded by the World Bank, and we want to do the same thing here.
Inshallah. When we speak about startups, one goes naturally into the next phase of a startup, which is a scale-up. And I want to zoom back on the ministry. So the ministry is in the startup phase. And I have to say that in few months' time, the amount of work that you're putting feels like a startup. It's a lot of initiatives. Maybe some of them work, some of them don't, some of them pivot, etc. But as you see the ministry, the MITAI, move forward, and I love the name, absolutely love the name. How do you see MITAI as a scale-up in the future? What do we need?
So what does scaling up mean for a ministry? It means that we go from 0 services, government services being provided on the cloud, to the 80% of services on the cloud. It means raising money from the private sector through public-private partnerships to deliver these projects, in exchange, of course, for a reasonable return. It also means training people across the public sector, going from 0 tech and AI ready civil servants to 100% tech-enabled and tech-savvy. It also means scaling up, also means activating those partnerships that we've been talking about, from the big tech like Google, Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, and others, to actually launching these partnerships, putting them to work. What does scale up mean? Scaling up means getting to a point where instead of having a patchwork of laws and regulations that facilitate, enable the growth of the tech industry, we would have the whole supportive environment. بيئة حاضنة يلي بتشجع وبتحمس وبتدفش هالشركات تنجح. So that's what we are looking for. Scaling up in this case is doing the job so well that no one notices that there is a ministry of AI. No one knows that it is an issue to introduce AI in government. When you get to the point where AI and technology become a normal part of life, whether in the public or the private sector, that's when you would have achieved the objective.
Absolutely, and speaking about partnerships and platforms, one can notice that our partners in the UAE who are leaders in the AI space, specifically the infrastructure. And also you mentioned some of the big tech companies. Do you envision us plugging into some of these ecosystems, and as you plug into an electricity cable and you have the lights on?
Great question, because it's something I would have liked to cover in more detail. Look, there is so much work that's being done around us in technology and in data investments in data centers. We have to be part of this story. We cannot, nor should we, replicate or try to replicate what they've done.
Absolutely.
In the UAE, they've built, or they are in the process of building Stargate, which is a 5 gigawatt data center. This is unheard of, and not only in the region, but worldwide. We do not need to replicate this infrastructure, but what we can do is benefit from it. In partnering with the UAE government, we can use that power that they've built, that platform that they built, and it's there through the right partnership with the talent that we have in Lebanon. The idea is to position the whole country in a global and regional value chain.
Yeah.
Give an example in healthcare. We have some of the best physicians in the world, not far from here, within 2 or 3 kilometers radius. Now, the research, the work that is being done by these physicians to deliver healthcare and can easily be switched or brought onto an AI platform is something that the whole region can benefit from. So if countries like the UAE have a healthcare and AI initiative, Lebanon can be part of it. Our universities, our hospitals are fit, they're ready, and we can be part of the story. As a government, there's every reason, every argument to use the infrastructure that is being developed, that has been invested in the region, so we benefit from it. Whether for training models, which is very consuming in terms of power, training models is extremely consuming of energy, but also for inference. So there are 2 aspects for data centers. Use them for training or for inference. When you ask a question, all of us, with ChatGPT or any other application, you ask a question. For inferences, it's easy. It doesn't require big computing power. It doesn't consume a lot of energy. But for training models, it requires the kind of gigafactories that we're talking about. And that, to me, is an opportunity for us to be part of the story, because no country can have a very successful, sustainable AI industry that is purely national. It has to be done
Absolutely.
as part of a global value chain. The Lebanese can be part of it. The Lebanese economy will benefit.
So these alliances that you're building through MITAI will eventually, down the line, allow governments, entrepreneurs, companies to really launch AI-first initiatives and leapfrog from where we are today into an AI-first environment.
Absolutely.
And leverage our own talent, data, and hopefully build also the depth of the venture capital and funding ecosystem that's required.
Yeah, but also, as countries around us are building their own large language models, these LLMs have to be trained. I think that we have here a treasure of data, be it in terms of movies, in terms of radio broadcasts. All of it is digitized. All of it can be and should be part of what these large language models are being trained on. So it's not like نحن عم نطلب إنه والله ساعدونا. What we are offering is a partnership.
Absolutely.
A partnership that is win-win. We have something to give. Our partners will have to benefit from it. So it's win-win for both.
Absolutely. Dr. Kamal, as a last message for entrepreneurs, dreamers, investors here today and in the future, what would you like to tell us as a community?
I'd like to tell them that Lebanon is open for business, that Lebanon is now ready to support these businesses, and that soon we will be more than just supportive. We will be there to power them, to help them scale. That is the promise, and I think they will find that they have support from the government, but that soon the infrastructure will be there, but the laws and regulations will also be there to support them.
Your
Thank you.
Excellency, thank you very much.
Thanks, Munir.